I'm Zach Elmblad, and you're watching a multi-part presentation. If you want to start at Chapter 1, you might want to go ahead and click right here. Good then. Chapter 10, Morning. When I woke up in that Sleeping Beauty's bed, and the first thing I saw was her face, I knew I was staring right at the main nerve. I was cuddled in a hangover death trap of love that was never meant to happen. I was the borderline vagabond, the road-worn saint, the antithesis of permanence. She, the great rock, snagging the net. I was a temporary passerby on the road, she a lofty dream superimposed over the waking world. A carrot in the eye of the working horse. The main nerve, seething, sending out its sparking tendrils for those with the right eyes to see and grab hold. She opened her eyes. "Good morning, vagabond." "Good morning, angel." She smiled, devilishly, looking at me over the bridge of her nose with her head cocked to the side. "An angel, am I? Some may disagree." "You sure do look the part, though." She smiled again, coyly this time, with her neck sunken into her shoulders. "I wondered if you'd still be here when I woke up." "Why wouldn't I be?" Did she know that she was right to wonder? Did she know I had debated fleeing into the stormy night? How? A woman's premonition? A long history of heartbreak? Did I tell her? Was I so drunk last night that I couldn't remember? "You're the vagabond." Women have the most uncanny ability to say something you'd never expect. Ha! I guess I am. Truth be told, though, I was trapped. Couldn't have left without waking you up. I looked around the room. Things usually seem so different in the light of day. It still felt like we were inside some saccharine catalog. The surroundings seemed so superficial and impermanent, like we were on the set of a primetime sitcom. I rubbed my eyes. "So, I hope you find some humor in this, but where the fuck am I?" I moaned. "My apartment." She smiled sarcastically. "Ha!" I sat up as I laughed and said, "I know that, Jasmine. I just mean, what city? Where in relation to Chapel Hill?" "Oh, yeah, okay. You're in Durham. Do you know where that is?" "Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Just wondering." "I'm gonna start some coffee." She got out of bed and the light shone in through the window and onto the side of her body. In that moment, she looked like a live model in an art class. Shadow and light danced and twisted around her curves. The sun would peek in through the blinds, rays of light superimposing a topographical map of her every feature. She was almost too beautiful to look at so early in the morning. She opened the blinds on one of the windows to allow full light to enter the room. As she walked back toward me, the sun shone in from behind her, casting an almost perfect corona behind her. The sun was giving her its power, and I wanted to know how she managed to do that. The sun's power is awfully hard to harness, you know. "You've got that look like you're thinking again." She stood there, glowing like the sun in front of the window, looking at me. "Has anyone ever told you that you're so beautiful you can draw attention away from the sun?" "People tell me I'm beautiful, but only when I'm on a stage." "All the world's a stage, Jazz. You've always got to shine like the fucking sun." "What's the point of all that? It's too fucking depressing. I can get up in the morning and play my part, do the hair, the nails, the makeup. I rise up to the challenges I'm not even expected to rise up to." "That's why you do it, though, isn't it? Don't you do those things to get what you want? Why can't you value your own life? It belongs to you, and whatever you do with it is sacrosanct. It's yours." "I value my own life. Doesn't everybody?" "Do they?" "Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? Have you always felt like you were putting on a show when you went out in public?" Now she had a look on her face like she was thinking. She grabbed a pair of sweatpants and a hooded sweatshirt from the corner near her bed and put them on. Well, when I was growing up, yeah. She paused for a second to put on the hoodie. That's what all girls do. We're trying to get you boys to pay attention to us, and it works. If you've got it, flaunt it, right? That only works for so long. The guys that are into looks treat you like shit when you wake up in the morning without your makeup on. You don't have to paint your face and dress up to impress me. That's because you guys don't have to spend 3 hours every morning figuring out how to dress yourself to present the best possible image. You just walk out the fucking door. You don't have to worry about what other people say. That's not true. I think about what other people say. I'm a writer, Jazz. I write books. What's more self-aggrandizing than that? I expect people to want to hear what I have to say. Isn't that just as bad? No. She climbed back into bed, sitting up against the wall like I was. At least you're giving something back. I just get stared at and wished for. All I get is money, nothing else. These people don't want to love me. They fantasize over a costume and a mask. I'm here sleeping in my car outside my buddy's apartment. I'm no hero. I give something back that nobody wants. I came out here looking for something better. Yeah, so did I. A college education and a chance to grab a hold of the American dream. No, it's not the dream you hold on to. That's the main nerve. The main nerve? You can never have the whole dream. That's what it is. A dream. You can only find the main nerve and grab hold for a ride. So all this searching for the American dream comes up bust? I wish I would have known. Yeah, that's what I used to say. It doesn't come up bust, though. That's the most special and tantalizing thing about it. It's always there, looming just out of sight. You can always reach, but you'll never grab a hold of it for real. You can only take its hand and go as far as it will lead you. Then what happens? You live, you learn, you give up, or you keep fighting for another chance to grab hold. I figure if you can grab a hold for long enough, or find it enough times, it will eventually help you get where you want to go. But what if I don't know where it is that I want to go? Then you just have to find it. There's a whole world out there for us to explore, but mostly we just kick it around our comfort zones, too scared to give ourselves a chance to get any more out of life. You just have to get out there and deal with it. Searching for the dream comes up boom and bust, 50-50, all in the same. You can't strike it rich with every plot, but if you keep searching long enough, eventually you'll find the mother lode. You can't take it all, only what you can carry back. You may never find the place again, but you can always strike up another search. So is that why you're the borderline vagabond? You only wander until you've found something and then you leave it there once you've found it? Yeah, I guess you could say that. At the moment, I'm just along for the ride. I wouldn't say I just leave the main nerve where it is, though, because you never step in the same river twice. I'll find it again soon, I'm sure. Got any good leads? She said with a smile. This was my chance. I've got a few. I put my arm around her shoulders and kissed her on the forehead. If only I could find the right words to tell her how many times I thought those thoughts that were running through her head. How many times I wondered what the point to all this was. The people, what they say, what they think, and what they do. We don't really know anyone but ourselves. Sad but true. You can spend hours talking to somebody and think you know exactly what they meant, then come to find out you weren't really even listening in the first place. We're stuck on a sad and lonely earth, trudging along without cause or direction. We make little games for ourselves, fluid, ever-changing goals to get to the next promotion or to pass the next test. We try to represent ourselves through our goals, but the goals are given to us by the people we look up to. We want to be like them. We want to know what they know. And when the road finally leads us there, we don't know what to do next. We cop out. We act crazy. We get emotional. We lock up. We can't keep going. We only know in retrospect what we could have done or said to make our dreams come true. The saddest part about a dream is that it is not reality. It is a vision of what reality could have been. A memory of something that isn't wholly true, but only based on a true story. She looked up at me with those eyes that I could have sworn were crying out to me. The depth of her stare made me wonder if she understood me more than I knew. "What do you want out of life?" she said, but with a different look and intent than she had the night before. That's a good question without a good answer. I want to be happy, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. What makes you happy? Freedom to wander, being around people I love, supporting myself, being well liked, and being successful in my pursuits of life, liberty, and happiness. Isn't that a circular definition? She almost sounded upset. Being good at being happy makes you happy? It doesn't make any sense. Have you ever studied philosophy, Jazz? Not really, no. Eventually, in every philosophical argument, you have to realize that you can't win. There's no such thing as winning. People have opinions and they change too often to nail them down. There's multiple sides to every argument, and that makes it so that nobody ever wins in philosophy. There's only ever a full set of sore losers getting down on themselves for not being perfect. What does that have to do with being happy? What it takes to make me happy changes all the time, just like the world around me, and just like philosophy. Sometimes there really isn't an answer, and I'm comfortable with that. We grow, we learn, we experience, and we use that to gauge what makes us happy. I can tell you right now, what made me happy when I was an 18-year-old kid was a whole lot different than what makes me happy now. Ultimately, you just have to be. There is no happy or unhappy. There's only what happens and how you choose to deal with it. I don't want to grow up. I wish we were all still kids. Things were so much easier back then. I know what you mean, but do you really think that? Are you sure you aren't just wishing that things weren't so hard to deal with? No, I interrupted her, even though I hate it when people do that. I was on a roll. Hold on. We're talking about equivalent exchange here. Remember, the only thoughts that you can ever know are your own. You can't think for other people. You know how much you've changed over the years. Do you think that other people hadn't? People don't stay the same, Jazz. Even if you want them to stay just as they are, they can't. They won't. You won't either. Time changes us like the seasons. We all grow old and we all die. All of us. That's what we do. The whole world is our playground. We've got nothing but time on our hands and lives to lead the way we want to lead them. That's what makes me happy. The fact that I know that everybody else is just as fucked and just as blessed as I am. Damn. Her eyes widened. We shared a silence. Not an awkward silence, not a sad silence, not a comfortable silence, not even a difficult silence. No, we were just silent because there wasn't much else that needed to be said. I think I'll go and make that coffee now. She got out of bed and walked out the door into the kitchen. Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes telling the truth hurts even more. I often find that I just can't say what I want to say. I don't get the chance, or something comes up, or the time doesn't seem right. I just can't get it out, no matter how important it might be. What I wanted to tell her, what I really would have said if I was good on the spot, was this. Listen, I wish I could tell you how well I know the frustrating feeling of not getting what you wanted. For a long time, I never thought I would either. I thought that the world was torturing me through existence in some perverse way I couldn't see leading anywhere. I swear to God, or to the fucking sun, or to whatever it takes to make some sort of change. I know exactly how you feel. The only thing I want right now, more than anything else, is to just sit here with you, not saying anything. I just want to feel the presence of another human being who has gone to the edge of sanity, only to crawl back on their fucking knees, scraping their fingernails into the mud and cursing the sky. I want to be with you, right here, for ill or good. I just want to be near someone. I want to keep feeling like this. I want to stay here for as long as I possibly can and enjoy every minute just for what it is. The morning had come, and the storm had passed. The world seems a bit greener and a bit more alive in the springtime. Throughout the summer, the world around you lives out its seasonal existence into maturity. We are part of that same clockwork, that fantastic machination of the cosmos. And in the same moment that everything can be so grandiose, so seemingly fluid, time flowing incrementally through the seasons with the smallest changes from day to day, things change so often that we take it for granted. Gradually, over time, or in the flash of an instant, sometimes even too quickly for us to take notice. Sitting in that bed was one of those memories that I'll never quite be able to shake from my brain. I wanted to tell her I loved her, but I didn't even know what that meant to people anymore. To me, it meant that I felt a strong urge to be around her. It wasn't just because she was attractive, or because she seemed honestly intelligent and inquisitive. It wasn't because I could get lost in the color of her eyes. It wasn't because of her flowing traffic cone hair, or her attractive personality. It was all of those things. I was pulled toward her by an act of gravity. It was a natural inclination to pursue another few minutes of interaction which, in turn, could potentially muster a few more days and eventually turn into weeks and months and years. The main nerve was running through her Durham apartment that morning, and all I could do was grab hold and not let go until this was all over with. This wouldn't last. It couldn't. She was so far away from me, from my home, from my reality. She was a pit stop on the long road home. I couldn't have her as much as I wanted to. Have, of course, being the loaded word here. You can never have someone. You own yourself, they own themselves. What I mean when I say have is that I wanted to know that she felt the same way about me that I did her. That, I knew, I would probably never have. I've made a good many mistakes, you know. I'm sure you can sympathize. We may try, but we can never be perfect. The sad truth is, I'd never really known how to have someone. I never knew what it took to break through that barrier, to love for what love was. I have a talent for wishing things into my life that I know I can never really have. She was on an altar, a higher place. Even if it was only because I put her on it. I could look at her, feel her touch, but I could never really have her. She was just as lost as I was. "I'm back," she said, carrying 2 brown plastic coffee cups. "Come on into the living room." She had no idea what I was thinking. Maybe I took some comfort in that. More accurately, I wished I knew how to say it out loud. I just wanted to scream, "I've been looking for you for so long. Where have you been?" I just rubbed my eyes, and I stood up to follow her. She turned around and walked back out the doorway. I took a last glance around her bedroom. I don't really know why. I find myself doing that when I want to remember things that are important to me. Times in my life where I know a fundamental change has occurred, but I don't understand the context. I wanted to be able to think of this day where I found the main nerve again, the day where the road finally took me somewhere. "I hope you like your coffee black." "Fine by me, Jazz, thanks." She giggled, probably still finding amusement from my not knowing her real name. It was becoming a game to her. Was she playing a character? Was I? Does anyone do otherwise? What was the point of this exchange? Where would it lead me? What was my lesson to learn? What was I here for? "What do you want out of life, Jasmine?" I just kind of blurted it out. She sat, pensive, for a moment. "I want to find my road." "Ha! Now you're starting to sound like me." "What do you mean?" "I've been obsessed with this idea of The road, for years now. What do you mean when you say, my road? I mean the right path to take, the solution. I want to find a way to do what I want and to balance that with what other people want from me. No man is an island. Or woman, she added. Right, or woman. No person is an island. What do other people want from you? Sometimes I think I know, but I'm not always so sure. I have things to give, you know. I'm what I want to call a good person. I just don't know why so many other people seem so happy when I can't find anything I want. I wish I knew how to tell you how well I know that feeling, Jasmine. Sometimes I wonder if the people I see are really as happy as they seem. Don't we all reserve a measure of loathing for this existence? Don't we all have bad times with the good? I mean, I like to think of myself as a good person too. Some others may not agree with me, but as long as I keep fighting for what I believe in, I can only hope that I'm doing what's right. Yeah, I just can't figure out a way to tell if what I'm doing is right. I don't know what to compare it to. How do you tell? I'm sorry, but I don't know. That's where I'm stuck too. I'm starting to wonder if there even is such a thing. I mean, I don't believe in God, so I don't think that there's a moral code for existence. There is no justice. There is no truth. There is no suffering. Just reality. What we have in front of us. Nothing else. She grabbed my hands as I stood in the doorway of her bedroom. There was pain in her grip, sadness in her face. Pain I could only level with and never truly understand. A pain that was hers to feel. A pain that made life seem like it wasn't taking its giant shit on me alone. We shared a silent moment, hand in hand, staring at the wall of her living room from the doorway. What's the point of fighting? Wasn't I where I wanted to be? Wasn't she with the person she chose to spend the night with? If tomorrow were to never come, couldn't we both say that we had gotten what we wanted from this whole exchange? Before I could say anything else, our moment of silence was broken by the sound of my phone loudly vibrating across the living room coffee table. It was Hooper, naturally. I picked up the phone and slid the touch bar to answer. Phones don't have buttons for me to press angrily anymore. Speak, I said, flatly. Fuck you. Where are you? Jasmine's apartment, somewhere in Durham. Good. Durham. You're not that far away. I have to do some shit, so give me about an hour and head to the Waffle House on Main in Chapel Hill. Cool. We'll head out in about an hour then. Did you fuck her? Do I lie to prove my manhood to my friend? Do I tell him the truth and make it seem like I really couldn't get laid in a brothel with a grand? I paused, but only for a second. Things may have been complicated, but I had an image to uphold. Of course I did. What did you think I was going to do, play fucking cards? I lied, even with her sitting right next to me. Fuck it. I happened to glance at her face, which was attentive but unreadable. I imagined her laughing as I said it, knowing the truth and watching me lie to him right in front of her. We all play our parts. It had been quite a while since I'd found the inclination to get in bed with a chick, and I couldn't even bring up the concept of fucking her. I didn't know how. I couldn't remember. When I was younger, everything seemed so easy. Say the right things, bring the flowers, and you're good. Things aren't that simple with adults. The smart ones, anyhow. We aren't giving up the fuck to whoever walks by. We aren't going to dedicate ourselves to someone for a night of joy. We don't have the heart for that. It's been broken too many times. Some of us are simply too cynical to love others. Our childhood innocence is gone forever the moment our heart is first broken. There's a small piece of you that disappears with every person you start a relationship with, a piece you never quite get back. They take it with them, even if they just throw it away. You can never replace that piece, no matter how hard you try. Our adult lives are infested with disappointment, tainted with sadness, to the point where we sometimes forget there's even a good side to life. We try, sometimes not hard enough, to live day to day, forgiving yesterday's transgressions, and trying ever so hard not to regret what we've done wrong, all the while adding more mistakes to the list. To those who've seen the other side of the bridge, the silent confidence of a life fully actualized, we do not see our time as something we can just give away. We do not see our spare time as anything but valuable increments reserved for those we hold most high. We don't take things for granted because we know what it feels like not to have them. We don't push anyone as hard as we push ourselves because we understand that we are also human. We want the bar to be raised. On the other hand, we don't always need to explain everything to each other. Sometimes you can just solve everything by asking the right question. "Did he ask you if we fucked?" said Jasmine, abruptly, the second I set the phone back onto the table. I nearly spit out my mouthful of coffee. "Yep," I said, trying to hide my awkward surprise. "Why'd you say yes?" "Because Hooper is an animal." "What do you mean?" "Because it's easier to lie and say yes than it is to provide the explanation behind no. It's what I'd like to call a noble lie." "What is the explanation behind no?" "How did I know you were going to say that? Nothing is getting past this chick." "Well," she said, like she was picking at a scab. "Why didn't we fuck?" I asked, awkwardly scratching at the back of my neck. "Yeah, why didn't we fuck? I haven't had a man in my bed without fucking his brains out for a long, long time. How did you do that? Was there something wrong? Don't you like me?" "Of course I like you. Are you out of your mind? Why don't you tell me why we didn't fuck?" "This has been bugging me since we woke up. Does your dick work?" I can only imagine what kind of look I might have had on my face when she said that. "I'll fuck your brains out, little girl, if you want to be out with it. I just thought you might appreciate a little tact is all." "I'll show you tact." She jumped on me, straddling my waist like she had outside the club. We kissed, briefly. "Ha!" I said out loud, when she took her mouth away from mine for a moment. "What?" she said, looking at me in the eyes only a few inches from my face. "Long con." She smiled and we kissed again. She held me closer than she had before, tighter, and she scraped her tongue along my lips. There's no need to make this into some back-of-the-porno letter to the smut editor. I'll allow you to imagine what happened next, and you'd probably be right. We had somehow managed to stop intellectualizing ourselves, whatever was happening between us, and even the whole world around us, reverting instead to raw emotion and feeling. We made love in a violently cathartic fashion, caught up in the frantic nature of what people tend to call living in the moment, and what I like to call pursuing happiness. Sex is always better during the waking hours anyway.